Hello, my love, and welcome back to another episode of the Energy Expansion Podcast. You want to know how I know an episode is going to be really good? It's when I find myself resisting recording it. It's the stuff that needs to be said, the stuff that when I really open up, when I really bring you into my world, into my head, into my heart, into my reality, because I know it's going to change your life. Those are the best episodes. And also, those are sometimes the scariest. It's scary, but not scary. It's hard, like difficult, but not difficult. You're probably picking up what I'm putting down. So let's start this off with, as I was toying in my mind with how I've been feeling the last few weeks. And spoiler alert, I've been feeling freaking amazing. Like, so damn good, shockingly good, where multiple times a day, every single day, I pause and I'm like, yeah, baby, we're back. We're back. Where is all of this goodness coming from? Not questioning it in a bad way because I want it to be here, but questioning it in a way that I can get really curious about it. And it's in my nature to have experiences and then want to mine the gold and the lessons and the magic from those experiences, honestly, for myself, because I might find myself in similar situations, but then also I want to share it with you. I want to share it with my people. I know a ton about human design. I love human design. The one thing that I get kind of confused and bamboozled by are the profile lines, the numbers. So I am a 1-3 sacral manifesting generator. I'm super dialed in with all of the different energy types, super dialed in with the strategies and the authorities. It's the profile lines. Some of you know what I'm talking about right now. I'm going to lose a few of you, so stay with me for a minute. But my 1-3 profile line, somewhere in that speaks to the fact that I am meant to be a trailblazer through trial and error. You might not necessarily have to learn by trial and error like me. I'm the one who will raise my hand and say, let me go first. Let me have the experiences. I have a tendency to learn things the hard way. And I'm okay with that. I used to honestly be a little embarrassed about that. Like, why does everything have to be so hard? Why does it take me so long to learn the thing? And now what I've learned over probably the last handful of years, 5-6 years, definitely since being an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for, end of this year will be 13 years. So about half of my entrepreneurial journey, I started to realize, oh, the way that I learn, the difficulty and extra time that it feels like it takes me to learn things is actually one of my gifts, because I'm here to teach, I'm here to lead, I'm here to guide. And I have so many different cool tools in my toolkit, but I can also lean on layers of my own life experience as well. And I can save you and the people that I get to serve, my clients and the people in my community. I can save you, my love, a lot of time. Ideally, a lot of tears and a lot of heartache. Yeah. So when I was thinking about this experience of, damn, I feel good. I feel so good. I'm like squealing with excitement. Sometimes when I edit the podcast, it like somehow edits out the squeals of excitement. I don't want it to do that. But I really sat with like, what did it take for me to get here? And I don't know exactly what the title of this episode is going to be. I don't actually decide the title until after the episode is done. But when I was thinking about this, I was driving around. We've talked about this before. I get my best ideas when I'm in the shower, when I'm driving, when I'm exercising. There's a whole science behind that. I don't know what episode we talked about that on, but we did talk about the science of when certain ideas come through. So I was driving around this morning knowing I was going to record this episode for you. And the theme that came up, the potential title, which this may or may not be what I land on, is a guide to getting through the dark. Today is going to be all about a guide to getting through the dark. And I'm going to open up and I'm going to share a bit with you about one of the darkest, hardest, densest, most challenging seasons of my life, which was in the recent past. I was going to say not too recent. Not too recent means a long time ago. That's not accurate because it was pretty recent. And it was also a season that I found myself in for an uncomfortably long period of time. And I really got to thinking, at what point did the pendulum swing from the darkness, the density, the discomfort, the heaviness to this overwhelming joy bouncing off the walls with delusional excitement, being just obsessed with every moment and feeling like miracles and magic and blessings and opportunities are at every corner that I turn, like multiple times a day. I was joking with my husband last night. He was like, babe, please stop talking. Can you go to sleep? And I was like, I can't stop talking because I'm so happy and I'm so excited. And so as I'm really thinking about this, I wanted to walk you through how I navigated this uncomfortable season. So this episode, you're going to love it. You are going to love it no matter where you're at right now. This episode's going to be exceptionally helpful if you have found yourself in a heavy season. If things in life, maybe some aspect of life or all areas of life have felt harder than usual. If you've been experiencing your own darkness. There were parts of the past 24 months when I would describe it as though there was a gray cloud hanging over my head, following me around. That's a metaphor for darkness, right? This gray cloud blocking the sunshine, blocking my ability to see and feel and experience the goodness. Maybe there is a level of density. What do I mean by that? When we're talking about energy, and we recently recorded an entire podcast episode all about energy, but energy and frequencies can be measured. And what we know to be true, I often reference the energetic scale of consciousness, is lower vibrating emotions like shame, guilt, grief, sadness, apathy, among many other things. Those are lower on the energetic scale of consciousness, and they are denser. They're literally heavier. They move slower. Whereas we work our way up the energetic scale of consciousness to things like joy and excitement and love and bliss and enlightenment, those are much lighter. So they can vibrate faster. They feel different in our body. We're able to generate a level of momentum, and we become magnetic for really beautiful, wonderful things. This is not to condemn certain parts of the human experience. No, 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 no. This is not about pushing away feelings that you don't desire. That's actually something that we're going to talk about today, something that I learned. So all right, love, real quick pause because I have to tell you about something that is truly life-changing. If you've been in my world for any amount of time, then there is a 99.9% chance that you have heard me talk about Energy Expansion Academy, which is my signature group coaching program where I teach the exact tools, rituals, mindset shifts that helped me create a life that goes beyond my wildest dreams and has transformed the lives of hundreds of women that I've had the honor of serving. And for the first time ever, it is now available as a self-paced experience. That means you get to move through this powerful transformation on your own terms, in your own timing, and in full alignment with your life. This is for the woman who's ready to shift her energy, elevate her mindset, and finally become the most confident, fulfilled, and successful version of herself. Without the hustle, without the overwhelm, and without the second guessing. If you've been feeling the nudge to join us inside of EEA, then this, my love, is your sign. You'll find the link in the show notes or just DM me EEA on Instagram and I'll personally send it your way. Now, let's get back to the episode that you came for. If you're able to relate to any of that in terms of a season that you're walking through, a season of density, disorientation, confusion, difficulty, any of that, this is going to speak to you in a really big way. And also, maybe you're in a season similar to what I've been feeling recently, which is like, oh my gosh, I feel like myself. I feel like I'm coming out on the other side. The light at the end of the tunnel that I've seen for so long, we're going to talk about that, is here. It's now. I'm literally standing in the light. I'm not running towards it. I'm not praying for it. I'm not trying to find it. It's here in the now. If that is also you, this episode is probably going to make your heart expand because you're going to be able to relate to so much of what I'm sharing. And here's the truth. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. We are not human beings. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. We are souls. We are spirits who said, hey, you know what? Let me go down there. Let me hop inside of one of those meat suits and let me experience the fullness of what there is to experience. We did not just sign up for the rainbows and the butterflies and the high vibes. No, if you're anything like me, you love that. That's your favorite. I love that for me and I love that for you. You came here to experience the full range of human emotions. So I don't want to be a negative Nancy. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news ever, ever, ever. But the truth is, you will find yourself at some point in the future in a difficult season, in a time of discomfort, in an experience that feels really, really dense. How do I know? Because it's par for the course. It's par for the course when we're in said meat suit having the human experience. And so every single time that I have found myself navigating the muck, the heaviness, the things that I don't love for myself or for you, I learn more. And I get better and better at learning how to navigate those things. And I really feel like I am a master. After coming out of the season that I was in for obnoxiously long, I feel like I'm a master, and I'm going to share these things with you. So let's talk about what to do when life feels heavy. Let's talk about how we can stay anchored in faith and what to focus on in those times, the seasons that feel tricky, challenging, dark, dense, you name it. So number one is, I want to call this the power of focus. The power of focus. And we're starting with something that feels simple. I love having a mantra, a word, a prayer, a theme, something to tap into. And one of the mantras, there were a handful over the last 24-ish months. That's what I'm defining as this season of darkness, this season of heaviness. It's interesting because if you've been with me for any length of time, you can probably pinpoint what was happening 24 months ago, almost exactly 2 years ago, which calendar math is 24 months. My family and I picked up where we were living in Northern California and we moved to Southern California. And it's been a blessing in a lot of ways. It's also been extremely challenging in ways that I never could have imagined. And so I don't want to say, oh, well, we moved and then I got sad. Or when we moved, life became bad or something like that. That's not actually the case, but there's so many different factors. And that was like quite literally one really big thing that was happening among many other things. And so over that span of time, there's been certain words, themes, mantras, prayers. But one thing that I have found myself saying again and again and again, and I believe it to be true with every fiber in my being, is that when you focus on the good gets better. When you focus on the good gets better. I cannot even tell you how many times I said that out loud, how many times I said that silently to myself. I made a vision board. I typically don't make just one vision board a year. I'll make a vibe board. If I have a little free time, which as a mom of three and a business owner, director of operations here at my household, there's not a whole lot of free time. But when there is, crafting and playing with high vibe images and creating mini vision boards is my jam. It's like how I would like to spend any free time that I get. And I had created one of these said mini vision boards. And I found a quote from a vision boarding book that said, when you focus on the good gets better. And I had an oracle card that I pulled and I never put it back in the deck. I literally surrounded myself with this mantra. And it's so funny. I just got done hosting an in-person expansion experience, an entire weekend dedicated to serving, supporting one individual, one very special client of mine. It was the most incredible experience. I want to do this again and again and again and again with all of my amazing clients. But on the very first night there, she showed up with the sweetest gift box, which, oh my goodness, the amount of love that I feel even right now, several days later in my heart. Girl didn't even check a bag. Like she did a carry-on and brought all of this stuff that she needed. And she somehow managed to fit this gift box. And in this gift box was all kinds of stuff that she knew that I would love, including this beautiful cup, like for my beverages. I'm the queen of beverages. I think if you're listening, you may also be the self-proclaimed queen of beverages. You cannot be in front of your computer doing a work session with any less than like 2 to 3 beverages, right? We've got the coffee, we've got the tea, we've got the water, we've got the electrolytes, we've got maybe hot coffee and cold coffee at the same time. All of that. But she brought me a cup, and on the cup, she goes, I thought I've heard you say this before. And it says, when you focus on the good gets better. And I was like, yes, my friend, you probably have heard me say that. And the reason I focused on that, or the reason I had that be my mantra, I should say, is because as I was navigating this really challenging season, again, there was this experience that feels foreign to me because people have described me as a relentless optimist. And that actually feels like me, the person who can always see the good in any situation, in any person, the queen of finding the silver lining. And that actually didn't feel like me for the last almost 2 years because of this gray cloud, this dark, heavy cloud that felt like it was floating right over my mind, right? From an energetic perspective, it felt like it was somehow messing with my crown chakra. Your crown chakra is your connection to spirit, to God, to self in so many different ways, to highest self. And so what was happening was I was hyper fixated on what wasn't working. I was noticing what felt heavy, hard, broken. I was extremely too aware of all of the places where I didn't feel enough, where I wasn't measuring up. I have this lump in my throat. It's painful to even say that out loud. And so I had to work harder than ever. I had to work double time, triple time, overtime to get my mind right. I noticed that like my natural disposition, where I automatically went, was to a place of heaviness and negativity and cynicism and pessimism. No, that's not helpful. And so that mantra of, okay, Dani, focus on the good. Why? Because when you focus on the good gets better, and then it gets better, and then it gets better. And so inviting you into that, if you're finding yourself in any version of your own hard day, hard moment, hard season, when you focus on the good, even if it is just one teeny tiny thing, that is a really beautiful way to start to shift your energy. Focusing on one good thing. Some of my favorite questions are like, what's good and right about this thing happening? What's good and right about this? What am I focused on right now? When you do that, you begin rewiring your perception and you start creating this natural momentum for a shift that can show up in the form of healing, of clarity, of breakthrough, of allowing you to experience more of what you desire to experience. So that's number one, is the power of focus, choosing a mantra, a prayer, something to sink into that's going to feel helpful in those hard moments. For me, it was a handful of different things, but the one thing I came back to more often than anything else was this mantra of when you focus on the good gets better. The other thing I want to share with you, which is so cool, and each of these things I'm going to share with you today, they sort of build on each other. And there's this beautiful connection between them. And what's so interesting about this particular episode is I feel like we could have an entire podcast, not just an episode, but we could have a full-on podcast with hundreds of episodes about navigating tough seasons. And so I have a very strong feeling that this episode is going to be part one of something that we build on together. But when I really sat with this and was breaking down the anatomy of a dark season and what that actually means, not judging it, not judging myself, but looking at the necessity and how to move through any season, literally any season of life from a place of embodiment and empowerment, these were the things that came through today. So this is not the end all be all. So number 2 is, what does God actually have to say about hard seasons? And I noticed over the last 24 months, I'm going to keep referring to this period of time, that there were certain days, that there were certain pieces of scripture, there were certain Bible verses that really, really struck me in the most powerful ways. And so I'm going to share some of these with you. If they resonate, I'm going to invite you to write them down. And for a few of these, I'm going to share verses from a few different versions of the Bible. My favorite version of the Bible is one known as the Message. It is written in a way that feels similar to how you and I would speak to each other today, where other translations, when I say versions of the Bible, what I mean by that is different translations. The Message doesn't always feel like the most traditional translation. So I'm going to share some traditional verses, but then also pull from the Message, which again speaks in terms that I think you and I could really relate to in the way that we would actually speak to each other in this day and age. It goes without saying that I am not a pastor. I did not go to seminary. I am not a theology teacher. So I am not here to try to school you on the Bible. I have not studied these verses word for word, but these are verses that landed on my path when I felt like I was needing them most. And so I'm going to share them with you. So the first one is Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. The Message, which is the translation that I love to go off of too, another way of saying this is fix your attention on God. When you do, you'll be changed from the inside out, unlike the world around you, always dragging you down to its level. God brings the best out of you. So I really love this because if you think about it, this entire verse is all about mindset and understanding how what we focus on, where we place our attention, literally creates the foundation of our entire life experience. What I also love about this is it speaks to the fact that we don't have to do this alone. That's really what I see from all of these different verses is you can be going through a really tough and dark season and you might not be able to change or fix your mindset by yourself. And that is an okay thing. You're not here to do life by yourself. This is when faith actually matters most, right? Like faith is easy when everything is going really well, right? Because you don't actually need it as much. It's when you're going through harder, tougher, more difficult seasons that really force you. You don't have to, but it's what forces me to dig really deep into my connection with myself, more importantly, into my connection with God and what faith looks like and means to me. The other thing that I love so much about this is it's a reminder as to where to fix our attention, to not get caught up in worldly things, what other people are doing, comparing ourselves to other people, getting wrapped up in the news, getting wrapped up in the doom and gloom. Those are all things of the world, right? We are in the world. We are not of the world. There's a spiritual difference there. Number 2 is Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. It says, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, think about such things. When all else fails, come back to what feels divinely true. Come back to what feels good and right and pure and lovely. The Message translation of this is, you'll do best by filling your minds and meditating on things that are true, noble, authentic, compelling, and gracious. The best, not the worst. The beautiful, not the ugly. Things to praise, things to be grateful for, not to curse. Put into practice what you learned from me. I'm pretty sure this is speaking from the perspectives of Jesus, right? What you've learned from me. Who are we here to learn from? Jesus. What you heard, what you saw, and what you realized. Do that, and God, who makes everything work together, will work you into his most excellent harmonies. And so that was a bit longer, but really it's a reminder of what are we meant to focus on, because what you focus on expands. And this gives you very, very clear direction as to what is going to be helpful, what is going to be most expansive, what is going to be most empowering. And I love that it's just a guide. It's right here. You don't have to think about what to think about. If you're struggling and you forget, you can turn to some of these. The next one is Colossians chapter 3, verse 2. Set your mind on things above, not on earthly things. Again, it's this reminder of lifting our vantage points, looking up. I love how the Message translates this. It says, if you're serious about living this new life, which you have access to through the goodness and the love of God and Jesus, if you're serious about living this new life, act like it. Act like it. Don't shuffle along, eyes on the ground, absorbed with the things in front of you. One more reminder to fix your eyes on something greater, to elevate your vantage point, to elevate what you're focused on. And the last one is Ephesians chapter 4, verses 22 through 24. And it says, put off your old self, be made new in the attitude of your mind. Put on your new self, one that allows you to be created like God in true righteousness and holiness. And this is one of my favorites because it speaks to something I'm so passionate about, which is identity work, shifting the way that you view yourself. It's literally talking about an old self, an old version of you. It is saying, put that down. There's a new version of you that you're being invited to step into, one that is actually more aligned with who God made you to be. So this speaks to what we're focused on. This speaks to mindset. This speaks to really focusing on the way that we relate to ourselves, the heart of identity and true transformation work. And so there's that. I really love this for us. So that was number 2, was really looking at what does God actually say about our mindset and what we're focused on and something we can do. What are some things that we can focus on during these harder seasons? And the next thing, again, these are all building on each other. The next thing is having radical faith. So what I mean by this is I was going through this excruciating long, dark night of the soul season. One of the most powerful things that I held on to was this deep, unwavering knowing that literally nothing lasts forever. And when I say a knowing, I mean, I wasn't wishing, hoping, fingers crossed, like, maybe one day this will end. I knew in my bones that there was a light at the end of the tunnel, that there was going to be another season after this season of density and heaviness and darkness, even on the hardest days when it felt like I was at my version of a mental, emotional, energetic rock bottom. I knew that it was being used for something. I knew that I was being carried by the hands of God, by the Holy Spirit. I knew that I was not alone. And there's something really powerful about that, about knowing that and having faith. Like true faith is believing without having to see something. There was a power in knowing that this was all going to be used for good, that this was all going to serve me in some way, shape, or form. That was something that I was holding on to and something I always believe. I've said it here on the podcast before. I'll say it again. One of my favorite things to say to myself and to say to my people is the hand of the Holy Spirit is on this. The Holy Spirit is moving through you, is moving through this. It is going to be used for good. It always is. I literally refuse to believe anything else. One of the other things that I realized that feels like a powerful holy shift moment, something that helped facilitate the breakthrough from the season of breakdown into the season of true, empowered, embodied, enthusiastic expansion, is this moment when I realized it's really easy for me to love myself when I'm being my favorite self, when I am bubbly and optimistic and all of the like yummy, warm, fuzzy, high vibe things. But what I realized is when I'm in the past, because this isn't my truth anymore, but I had moments of being in the depths and it really triggered my sense of not enoughness and unworthiness and resisting where I was and making myself bad or wrong or feeling like I was broken or feeling like I was something that needed to be fixed. I would so easily abandon and walk away and condemn myself when I was in that dark night of the soul. I mean, I didn't do that intentionally. I didn't do that consciously, and neither do you. But it's when we're going through the depths when we actually need to love ourselves more. That is when we need it the most. And so that breakthrough of me realizing, wow, it's easy to love myself when I'm at the top of the mountain, when I'm feeling good, but notice how quickly I walk away from myself. Look at the level, oh, this feels heavy but true. Look at the level of disgust I have when I am metaphorically laying on the ground sobbing, not able to pick myself up. That makes me want to cry. And that is when we need the love the most. And the love that you need the most is the love from yourself. And so that realization was a huge, huge turning point. That wasn't originally on my list, but that just came through. So I had to share it with you. So the next one, I already mentioned this, I believe, is nothing lasts forever. And how do we know that? Because nature is our greatest teacher. And nature is constantly cycling through different seasons. You, my love, you and me, we are not separate from nature. We are also going to be cycling through our own seasons, right? If I'm being completely honest, I'm curious what yours is. You can message me on the Instagram, on the social medias. I'm a big fan of, I really like all of the seasons, actually. I'm like thinking of nature, and I live in San Diego, so we don't really get true seasons. We get a really awesome summer. We've got a lovely spring. We've got a really mild fall and winter. It doesn't switch up too much around here. But when I'm really thinking about my favorite seasons, it goes in this order. Spring is my favorite. Fall is my second. Summer is my third, and winter is my fourth. And every season serves a purpose. Every season is good and beautiful and perfect and necessary in order for things to live and not just survive, but thrive. And the same goes for you. The same goes for me. We will experience, we are constantly experiencing our own version of an internal, a mental, emotional, a spiritual, and energetic spring, summer, fall, winter. And so it is a good thing to realize that, because then you don't resist it, right? When I think of darkness, I think of winter, right? Like mammals go into, not all of them, but like I'm thinking of bears right now. They go into hibernation. They literally find a dark place to go rest and go sleep for all of winter. And then they're out doing their thing in spring and summer and being seen and doing whatever bears do. And so it's really interesting because we can so easily resist a season we're in. All of that being said, we were never meant to stay in one season. So the thing that I learned here, although this season of internal darkness, of heaviness, of density, although it was wildly uncomfortable, it stretched me, it humbled me, it softened me, all good and beautiful things. I feel like I let it do all of those things in a way that I didn't in the past. I didn't love the discomfort. There were moments when I felt like I was crawling out of my skin, but I fought it less than ever before. I let this season do what it needed to do within me and around me, on my heart, on my mind, in my body, in my energy field. And that shift in the dark night of the soul from resistance to reverence is everything. Remembering that nothing lasts forever, that nature is our greatest teacher, and that every season is good and beautiful and wonderful and perfect and essential and necessary. That goes for the world around us. That also goes for the world within us. This season of heaviness, of darkness, wasn't punishment. It was God, universe, spirit, life, my highest self preparing me for what was next. The other imagery that I really like here has to do with the butterfly. Everybody, maybe not everybody, I and a lot of people in my world love the metaphor of the butterfly. It's like one of the most well-known metaphors for transformation. And butterflies are so beautiful. I get so excited when I see them out in nature. I love them so much that my bestie and I even got butterfly tattoos on our arms. And we have to take a minute to think about, if we really appreciate butterflies, we have to appreciate what goes into the creation of them, right? A butterfly doesn't just wake up as a butterfly, doesn't come out of another butterfly's womb as a butterfly. No, it starts as a kind of funny, maybe cute, fuzzy, oddly moving, wiggly thing known as a caterpillar. And the thing that I really want to bring your attention to is the part of the metamorphosis where the caterpillar builds a chrysalis. So interesting that it like builds its own cave of darkness. And when it gets into the chrysalis, I don't know if you know the science of this, it literally completely dissolves into goo. It becomes 100% unrecognizable from its original form. In order to become the beautiful butterfly that it was meant to be, the beautiful butterfly that everybody loves so much, myself included, it has to let go of everything, literally every fiber of its old being. It has to let go of everything that it once knew. Scientists actually call this the imaginal cells. It's the cells that hold the potential of what the butterfly will soon become. And you have your own version of that happening within you. And in order for you to tap into that, the process of becoming is necessary. And that often requires stepping into a season of darkness. Another way of saying a season of darkness is the season of the unknown, which can feel really scary. It can feel confusing. It can feel dysregulating. It can feel like a divine or maybe a not so divine free fall. But the truth of the matter is the unknown is necessary for miracles to happen. If everything were certain, if everything were predictable, if you knew every step that was next, every day, every week, every year of your life was completely mapped out, there would be no room for magic. There would be no room for God to move. The growth, the evolution, the magic, the miracles, the blessings, the opportunities, those live in the unknown. The dark seasons that we experience, the density, isn't something to condemn. It's not something to resist. It's not our enemy. It's the space that we have. It's the space that allows us to become who we're meant to be. It's the space necessary for something new to be born, for you to be born anew. So all of that being said, if you're in your own version of a hard, tough, challenging, dark, dense season, and maybe it's not really any of those things, maybe it's just a season of uncertainty and that feels really scary. Whatever it is, I honor you. I see you. I know what it feels like, and I want you to know you're not broken. You're not behind. You're exactly where you're meant to be. Placing maybe one or both hands over your heart, taking a couple of deep breaths and trusting the perfection of where you are. Trusting, like I often say to myself and my people, the hand of the Holy Spirit is on this. Everything that you're going through, everything you're feeling, that you're experiencing, that you're navigating is going to be used for good and beautiful things, for your evolution and your expansion. Let yourself hold on to that. Let yourself come back to these divine reminders again and again. I'm hoping that these pointers of how to navigate the darkness feel helpful for you. And like I said, these were just the things that dropped into my mind and into my heart today as I was thinking about what do I want to share with our people, our energy expansion soul fam, our DKC soul fam. And this is what wanted to come through today. So I'm going to trust that it was perfect and exactly right. As always, I want to hear from you after you listen to this episode. Where are you right now? What season are you in? Let me know. Let me know what stood out for you, an aha, a breakthrough moment, a holy shift. And there will very likely be a part 2 and maybe a part 3 and never ending parts to this conversation. So I love you so much, and I'll see you again soon.